Good morning.
Morning.
Hello. All back. All well. Callie, you've got a cold, so you don't feel 100%.
Bit croaky, but that's okay.
That
It's
is
that
good.
time of year.
We like it.
As long as you don't
We
croak.
had some croaking in the. Yeah, we had lots of croaking in the garden yesterday. We had lots of croaking in the garden yesterday. There were two frogs fighting, believe it or not. Well, I hope they were fighting, not up to anything else anyway. So who knows? But they were croaking away early evening, I tell you. Right, Luke's Gospel, unjust judge. That's about where we're heading, isn't it?
Yes. Off you go then, David.
Luke 18, 1-8. Then Jesus told them a parable about their need to pray always and not to lose heart. He said, in a certain city there was a judge who neither feared God or had respect for people. In that city there was a widow who kept coming to him and saying, "Grant me justice against my opponent." And for a while he refused. But later he said to himself, "Though I have no fear of God and no respect for anyone, yet because this widow keeps bothering me, I will grant her justice, so that she may not wear me out by continually coming." And the Lord said, "Listen to what the unjust says. And will not God grant justice to his chosen one who cries to him day and night? Will he delay long in helping them? I tell you, he will quickly grant justice to them. And yet when the Son of Man comes, he will find faith on earth."
So is that a license to nag?
I think so.
Because that word didn't appear in
Don't
that
you?
translation, did it?
No, it didn't. It kept bothering me, I think, was what he said. He keeps bothering me.
I'm saying, Callie, is this a license to nag?
No. Actually, there's something I haven't looked up the Greek word myself, but there was something in one of the commentaries I read about the Greek saying he was worried he was going to get a black eye. I mean, metaphorical, not literally, but she was kind of persisting that much. I don't know. The nagging is an interesting point. But when is being firm and persistent, and when is it nagging?
That's a very good question.
That comes down to the element of perception.
I think you're right.
Yeah, well, I was sat in the doctor's surgery perhaps a month or so ago now, waiting for Jane to come out from an appointment so I could bring her home. And an elderly lady who I knew from site in town came in and said she needed to see the nurse urgently. And the receptionist said, "No, there aren't any appointments for 3 or 4 days." So the woman said, "Well, I'm not going from here till I see the nurse." She threw a bag on the floor, sat in the chair and said, "Now call the police." And the nurse miraculously came and saw her within 2 or 3 minutes. Was that nagging, or was that perceivably doing what is sensible because you need to be seen? I don't know.
And I suppose part of it is, are you just kind of jumping the queue out of some sense of entitlement and I want to be seen and to heck with anybody else? Or are you actually somebody, desperate, as this widow is, with no other avenue? And actually, she keeps going. And
so how does that related to jumping the queue to get to God? There's a lovely concept, isn't it?
Well, hopefully there isn't a queue, because God is all powerful and can deal with everybody at once.
Well, I think that's true, though, isn't it? And I think, when we nag God, I will use the nag towards God, because I think we can, and we can be very persistent, is actually we're not jumping the queue. We're actually just emphasising our needs, and God wants to listen to us. So the analogy isn't quite the same, but remember, it's a parable about our need to pray always, and not. And I don't
think the judge is certainly not God. The judge is somebody who has no fear of God and no respect for anyone, and he's basically complacent and lazy and wants an easy life. That's not God.
No, but what the parable's trying to tell us is, if somebody like that will give in through persistence,
Exactly.
how much more is it for us to pray for somebody who wants to hear our prayer?
Exactly.
That's how I read it. What's your comments, David?
Well, first of all, we don't know what actually he gave in and gave her, whether he gave her what she wanted or just listened. Now, there are two different things. You can listen and not act, or you can listen and give the person what they believe they desire. Now, what she may have wanted may not have been, of course, acceptable, but she wanted, or she may have wanted to make a point. We have no idea. And so we're kind of using supposition to try and talk about it, I guess. I think the real key for me about all of this reading, and it links into it, is what is going to be waiting for us? What God can actually find when He comes to earth? Will He find faith on earth when He comes? And how that links into the disciples and what they're up to at the time, but also the woman themselves. Is she going to find justice, and will God be able to deliver it when eventually He comes, or does it need to be delivered on the spot, as she was perhaps asking and wanting at that point? I mean, we don't know what she's asking justice for. We don't know what she's attacking Him for, or what she's doing. But the parable is very much about, for me, not so much about right and wrong, but about is not the word justice is not the right word, but is right being seen to be done, or is this judge unjust? And I read in one of the commentaries earlier this week that the person who'd written the commentary, I can't remember who it was, didn't like the title "The Unjust Judge" because there's no proof he's actually being unjust. We've just been told he doesn't particularly want to be hassled, and when he is, he gives in very quickly.
Yeah. Are we focusing too much there on the content of the parable and not so much on the intent of the parable and the meaning of it, the spiritual part of it?
Yeah.
Because we're told at the beginning, the parable was told by Jesus to the disciples, about their need to pray and not to lose heart. So that's the context. And he's been talking, I think, about the kingdom of heaven and, ultimate justice. I think there are some clues, going to David's point about, we're not told. We aren't told about the circumstances of the widow and her case against her opponent. But I guess there are some clues. The word widow has such strong connotations in the society of that day. Widows were very dependent on other people, and she's clearly on her own coming to petition for justice. It looks like she is, on her own and in dire straits, and and she's also got this opponent who she certainly perceives is she needs justice. The opponent is obviously making her life a misery, and so I suppose that's what we can read into the story. I think just on the words that are there, so it does say here, the Lord said, "Listen to what the unjust judge says." I don't know that word unjust, whether that's somebody who is not fair or simply not delivering justice, just not doing anything, whether that's a sort of, he's in any way sort of corrupt, or whether he's just, not doing not delivering.
I think the injustice is that, I don't know if that's the right word, is it, Carrie? The injustice, the lack of justice is the fact that she'd have to keep going back to him all the time because she hasn't been done. And if she's got a case, then perhaps it should have been heard. You'll know more than me about that. But perhaps it should have been heard earlier rather than just have to keep going back all the time.
Justice delayed is justice denied.
Yeah, well, exactly. And was he acting towards her because she was a woman? She was a woman who obviously had got no other support as a widow, no other male support, because normally, surely, it would have been those in that culture, it would have been the man that would have gone and tackled. So she's obviously on her own. So she's already at a point where she's disadvantaged because she's a widow and a woman on her own.
Mm.
So taking this, I'm going to keep banging on about the purpose of this parable, about our need to pray, rather than the actual detail of the parable, because I think the detail of the parable is relatively unimportant. That means that the widow, who's got no one else to represent her, can go straight to God and pray.
Absolutely.
It means the widow needs to pray daily. It means we need to pray daily and not to lose heart. How many times have we prayed for stuff, and I'll include me on this, and it doesn't get answered, and we pray and it doesn't get answered, and we pray and it doesn't get answered, and then we give up.
And that's the message. Keep praying. Keep the faith. Keep being faithful in your prayer.
It's the message of one of our other readings, isn't it, for this week, Timothy? That's about perseverance. Keep praying. Keep on going. Don't give up, and don't give in. But the point you made, Chris, and I preached a little bit about it last week. It's all right, this praying. And last week's reading, as we know, was the reading of the healing of the lepers. Only one of the 10 came back, and you can read all kinds of things into that if you want to. But we're very good at asking God for things. Secondly, I don't think that we are very good at listening to what he says, although we're very good at petitioning him. We're not always good at sitting and listening to what he has to say back to us.
I'll agree with that.
And recognising that perhaps he doesn't act at the time we want or in the way we want. But I'm sure you've done the same as me, Chris. You sort of think, God, I prayed about that some weeks ago. And actually, it seems to have resolved itself and the answer's been given. And thirdly, how good are we at going back and actually saying to God, thank you?
And it's amazing how prayer transforms the situation, because so she's just petitioning. She's directly petitioning the judge here. It's a parable. It's an analogy. But actually, it's interesting how prayer transforms. Prayer transforms the prayer, but prayer also transforms the situation. And something shifts in the judge, even if it's just get this nagging woman off my back. But it's the way that things shift, and how important that can be, that it takes time, that the prayer, we need for that transformation in prayer to happen. It's not a magic wand, it's persistence.
Yeah.
Like sort of the action of water on a rock, wearing it away. If you just ran water over a rock once, it wouldn't have that much effect. But over time, it wears it away. It wears it away. There's a transformation that happens.
And it is this constant going on, the persistence that is the thing about prayer. We've got to pray continually. That could be seen as nagging to God.
He can cope.
and he can, and that's the part of the story. The judge couldn't cope; he gave in, whereas God can cope because He loves us, etc. And if we do keep on praying, or we either keep on praying or we don't, what is God going to find when He eventually comes? Is He going to find us being a faithful people of prayer, committed to that conversation with Him and the deepening of relationship through that conversation with Him? Or is He going to find a group of nagging people because we don't believe that our prayer has been answered or heard, or we haven't seen the response that we want? Because we have to bear in mind that God answers prayer, but may not always answer it in the way that we want, because that's not the best way for us or for the situation.
And that goes to your point, David, about actually being prepared to listen to God, and for it to be a lot more of a two-way conversation than we let it be often, because the transformation of God can come in, and usually does come in unexpected ways, really.
Because he's saying to the disciples, are you going to give in to the convenience of a quiet life? What am I going to find when I come back?
Mm.
Or will you persevere in the faith? And that's part of Timothy, isn't it? Timothy's been left behind by Paul. We've got this wonderful letter, which is Paul telling us how good he is, really, and reminding Timothy to tell everybody how good Paul is. And but Timothy being given a job, you're to keep these people in the place where you are true to the faith. Keep them believing, keep them praying, keep them understanding what it means to be in relationship with Jesus, with God, so that when he does return, he finds you faithful people.
It's very helpful to us all, isn't it? It really is. It's a message for us all.
And how often does God answer the prayers with what we need rather than with what we want?
I reckon it's all the time, Chris, personally.
Yeah, that's why I haven't got a huge bank account.
You don't need a bank account that's huge, Chris, because you can't take it with you. As another parable will tell you, don't build up larger barns for yourself, because one day you'll die.
Is that next week?
Well, I don't know. No idea. Let me have a look in the book and see what it is next week. Last Sunday after Trinity next week. There we go. It is, according to my book. Because the following week is Sundays before Advent. Are we on 20 proper? We're on proper 24 this week, according to my book. Anyway.
Yeah, next week, last Sunday after Trinity, Luke chapter 4, 16 to 24.
That's right. That's right. No, next week. Next week? I don't know what it is. Anyway, I'm not going to worry too much about that for the moment, because we're talking about prayer.
You mean you're not going to start preparing?
Yeah.
I don't prepare until Sunday night, Chris. As soon as I come in from the last service, I'll read for the first time the readings for next week, and I'll let them cogitate in my mind for 24 hours.
It's the Pharisee and the tax collector next week.
Yeah, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me.
The Lord is upon me.
Wonderful.
Bring good news to the poor.
Well, there we are. We all like tax collectors. I'm waiting for the taxman to give me some money back. That'll boost my bank balance. It won't make me rich, so we're okay. Well, there are, dear person, dear viewers, lots of you, we hope. Perhaps that conversation gives you some thought about prayer, about perseverance, about not giving in, about not being belittled or made lowly because of your status in life, whether what you are. Because I think that's the real point. Keep persevering, because God's there for you and loving you and caring for you.
And the love of God and the love of neighbour that the judge doesn't necessarily show and should be showing, but that we definitely are called to show. Absolutely. Love of God and love of neighbour, and actually in there, the right kind of love of self.
Absolutely. Excellent. Well, there we are. Do you think that'll please everybody? Short? To the point?
It'll please the bishop because we didn't waffle at the start.
We didn't waffle. That gives us 1 minute and 38 seconds, according to my watch, to waffle now, should we want to do so. I don't know whether anybody noticed. Do you follow the vlog from the Bishop of Exeter at all, Chris, being a former Exeter person yourself?
No.
Well, last week, he would have trumped us if we'd have been doing our Rev Chat, because he had the Archbishop of York with him.
Oh.
Do you think we ought to write to the new Archbishop of Canterbury and see if we can get her on? She hasn't got much to worry about at the moment, has she? She's got a long wait to take up the job. So.
Yeah, was it February she's licensed, isn't it?
February, yeah. February.
Yeah, so she's got nothing to do
had lots of lovely things to say about Luke's Gospel.
She would.
That's for sure.
She would, particularly as we're approaching St. Luke's Day, which is the patron saint of the health service. We always used to have a hospital service on that day when I was a nurse.
We've got a hospital service, and actually, I'm doing. We're effectively preaching both on this passage and on the passage for Luke the Evangelist. It's coming Sunday. So,
Jolly good.
all of the disciples. In Luke.
Jolly good. Well, there we are. So we'll be back next week, dear viewer, hopefully, God willing, and all the rest of it. And we'll hope to see you. Do keep in touch. Send us any messages. What do you think about praying? Does God answer your prayer?
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, do you listen? Do you say thank you?
And do you find it challenging to persist, particularly when prayers aren't answered or don't
Do you
seem to
find
be
it
being
challenging to pray in the first place? Because for some people, they find it very challenging.
We'll have to have a good look at the comments for next week in preparation for next week.
We will, Chris. I see them coming in. I monitor them just in case anybody's complaining about one of us. Or...
All right. See you all next week.
Have a good week. God bless.
Bye. Bye.